Hi, it's Becky from Foxy Nail Boutique, and I have a wonderful, cowtastic set of nails for you today. This fun set was featured in one of my short videos that was recently posted, and we're going to dive right into it. We're going to be using some interesting materials today, including a band-aid, a set of really glittery, pretty sequins that I got, and also some of my favorite plastic flower charms and these small rhinestones that I've been using recently. Also, we're going to be using some flowers that my daughters picked and I dried. And the nails today are going to be in the shape of a long square, and they're from the Gellaktik brand. They have 12 sizes in this particular set, and this one had over 500 nails in it. I like the Gellaktik right now because they do have a nice stiff free edge and then that flexible cuticle portion. It is not pre-etched underneath, so you do have to kind of go in maybe with an e-file. I always like to start off using my 180-100 grit to file the edge, and then come in and buff everywhere with a 220-280 nail file. And then I dust that off and add my Beetles foundation gel polish and cure that for 60 seconds. And before we get into the gel colors, I'm also going to be using the Beetles matte top coat as well as their glossy top coat. And I also am going to be using the Mac Art Gem Grip Blue. Along with that, we're going to dive into the colors now. This really pretty denim blue from Beetles. And I will include in the description box all the products that you see being used here today, including this really nice deep green from Beetles. It was included in a kit that had a lot of different colors in it, like this black, which is kind of one of my go-to black colors, along with this white, nice vibrant white. It doesn't seem to like yellow when it's cured, because that can be an issue with some whites. And then this medium tan color also has a little hint of pink to it. And then the yellow here, this is not like a pastel yellow, it's kind of an in-between, not a brown base one, not too mustardy. And then from Rajasen, I'm going to be using this cat eye, really nice green. This one was featured in my green and cream coquette set of nails video, so it is cat eye, and I'm going to be using the little magnet. And then just to show, I do kind of sketch out the plan for the nails, and I do get those from maniology.com. And I love them because you can print them for different nail shapes, and then also they have the little squares there, so I use those to do my swatches. So instead of trying to come up like with my own type papers to work off of to do the drawings, I found them to be really useful. And Maniology has some really cool stamping plates, so at some point I really want to dive into, trying out more of their products, maybe getting onto their subscription box, program. And I haven't done any of those subscription things with, any of the nail brands out there, but they look really cool and really neat, and they seem to include a lot of fun products. So at some point I would love to do that. In the meantime, I've kind of been collecting some fun products of my own, and with this set of nails we'll be using a bunch of them. I started out with a thumb and just used the white from Beetles and kind of did this diagonal wavy line and filled it in with white, leaving the free edge kind of portion of the nail unpainted for the moment. And then I'm going to come back in with the black, and I'm going to do some more kind of wavy freehand lines to do the black splotches on the cow. So as you can guess, this one is going to be one of the cow print nails. And there's probably some stamps out there that could give you, cow print design and things like that. But I just decided it would be fun to do, a freehand since I don't have a stamp like that. at this point. And of course with these gel products, I am curing for 60 seconds. Sometimes with the darker colors, I do cure it for a full 90, just because they do tend to need a little bit more exposure for setting. And then I'm going to come in and grab these little dried flowers, and I'm going to use some cuticle snippers. These are my ones that I've kind of retired from actually using on my real cuticles. I just kind of use it as a cutting tool. So I'm grabbing some of the different colors, and these dried flowers are so pretty. They're very common in the region that we're living in, and you'll see them throughout the summer. And it's kind of on a bush. I don't actually know the type of bush that it is, but they have these little plumes of flowers, and it comes in different variations, and some of them are like a deep red, and so when they dry they turn this beautiful like plum, almost burgundy color. And we're going to be applying them to that open section at the free edge of the nail. So here you'll see me just doing some top coating, and I wanted to do the clear top coat from Beetles because I'm going to use that top coat almost like a glue to initially hold the dried flowers on. And this is where I kind of made a little bit of a whoops. So I've never worked with dried flowers before. This is my first time. So you're seeing me kind of play around with it and setting them down. And the big major step that I forgot when working with dried flowers is that I should probably go in and just rehydrate them a little bit. And you'll see me later in the video show you a little glass bowl of water, and what I end up doing is dropping some of these dried flowers in there so that they can soften up again. Now with how dry it is here where we're living, these dried flowers, I mean, I made them in like a day. They literally dried up overnight. And so I was like, oh, this is fun. I can make my own dried flowers out here. So after I cured this for 60 seconds, then I had to come back and snip off like the little stems on the flowers or any of the petals that were like sticking way up. And then I tried, pressing them down a little bit to kind of flatten them, a little more. And it was a little bit of a struggle. And this is at some point along here, this is when I realized, oh yeah, I should soften them up with water. I just tried to work with it. So then I came in with the MacArt gem grip glue, and I thought, okay, maybe I'll just fill it in and kind of even it out so that, this area here with the dried flowers won't seem so bumpy. And again, this was not the smartest thing to do, but you learn as you go sometimes. It's not always successful, sometimes it's a major fail. But at this point, I'm just trying to spread it around, spread that MacArt glue around a little, and I'm coming in now with some of this glitter. It's kind of like a confetti type glitter. It has those little like hexagon little flakes that are metallic and shimmery, and this one is a beautiful like fall blend. It has like a golden colored flakes and then little tiny like purple sequins. And I'm just dotting it around because I want there to be just a little bit of shine, a little shimmer mixed in with those dried flowers. And they match perfectly. I mean, the color scheme could not be any more perfect. Okay, so here you see my third attempt to try and smooth out this dried flower section on this thumbnail. I think I must have spent close to 30 minutes just trying to figure out what to do with this nail. So I grabbed my tub of Tamaka. This is the Tamaka hard gel, and it's clear. And I just put a good lump on there, and then I realized when I put it on the free edge, it's going to cause this really big unevenness between the dried flower section and the cow print section. So I edited it out, but I basically smoothed a whole big thick layer of that hard gel over top and cured it. Well, when I cured it, it turned the white cow print a little bit yellowish, and I didn't like that. So I ended up having to redo that thumbnail, and you'll see at the very end with the images and everything, it did turn out good, but it was a struggle. Moving on to the index finger, I'm using that medium denim color from from Beetles, and I'm coming in with my 25mm long thin nail art bristle brush, and then did a diagonal line, and then just grabbed the brush from the gel polish bottle and then filled in the rest for a first coat. And then I do end up, double coating, and including when I was doing the cow print, I also double coated with the white, and then, of course, cured for 60 seconds. And then here's the fun part. All right, let's grab out the Band-Aid. No, I did not end up, hurting or injuring myself during the making of this nail video. What we're using this for is the pattern, of course. So I'm going to dip this into some of the white gel nail polish. And then this particular Band-Aid is one of those cloth fabric-y type ones in a medium size. And then, as you saw, I took off the white tabs, revealing the sticky portion, and then just folded the Band-Aid over top of itself. And then when you press that down onto the nail with some of that white polish, it makes almost the perfect denim material type impression. So I'm just using some, isopropyl alcohol on my extra cleanup brush and just cleaned up some of that white that got onto the clear portion of the free edge. Then after curing for 60 seconds, I'm going to grab that yellow shade, and I'm going to come in and try to do some of that like almost stitching that you would see on, a pair of Levi's or whatnot. And I'm going to do these little dots and cure them as I'm going along. And the reason for this is I'm actually spelling out a word as if it was embroidered onto this denim, fabric here on the nail. So what I'm trying to spell, and at some point it will maybe become more visible, is the word moo. But to accent the word a little more, I add an extra O at the end. So instead of just being M-O-O, I tagged on another O at the end. And I wanted to make the letters start out large and then kind of slowly, gradually make the O's get a little bit smaller. So you'll see me, and of course I sped this up quite a bit. Definitely, I think it was about 2.5 times the normal speed. Just to show you as I'm going along here, I'm curing for about 30 seconds each time and creating these letters. And I do actually go back at the end, and I don't show this in the video, but I noticed that the yellow was a little hard to see against that denim pattern. So I did come back in and add a little bit of dark blue from Beetles, and that's the F200 shade, which I did not show you at the beginning of the video. So I came in and kind of did some shadow lines around the little yellow ticking marks here, just so you could see the word moo a little bit better. And I think it turned out much better. And then after I finish doing, all of the writing, I do cure the nail again for a full 60 seconds. So while that's happening, we'll move on to the middle finger. And with this one, we're going to do it in a solid green. And this is like that deep, deep grass green that you would see. Not, it's kind of like after spring, but before the sun has kind of dried up the grass really bad. It's like that late spring color grass, thick and just a gorgeous green color. And cure that for 60 seconds. And I did 2 coats on it. And then I came in with my Rogerson cat eye. And this is a really pretty light green color. So I wanted to add some dimension to the nail and like some glitter to it without, dumping a bunch of glitter onto the nail, because I didn't want it to overwhelm the nail, because you'll see in a little bit we're going to actually add an image to this, a hand-painted image. So I want to make sure that there is sparkle, but that there's not chunky glitter on here. So I played quite a bit with this cat eye, and I do like this cat eye. It's very responsive, the metallic particles in there. They're very responsive to the magnet. But what I was trying to do was force the particles up towards the cuticle part of the nail and make the free edge a little more open, because I want to paint that image down towards the bottom of the nail there. And just as a quick side note in the video here, I wanted to let you know that I'm not currently a representative or affiliated with any of the products or brands that you see me using currently in this video. I just picked these products because I felt they were the best ones for the design that I was doing today. And of course, if any of that changes in the future, I will definitely post the information and also provide it in my description. And now I'm coming in with a second coat, just so that, you know, there's a little bit more of depth and shine to the nail. I really like doing cat eye. I think it is such a beautiful, beautiful creation when you can move those little particles around and do, you know, just different angles and different ways that the light catches. It's like performing magic on a nail. And then when you can set it, you know, in place by curing it for 60 seconds, and it doesn't lose its depth and shine. It's just awesome. So I'm going to play around with this a little bit just to work it again up towards that cuticle edge area and leaving the free edge more open, a little bit of sparkle left on it, but not, you know, intense. Okay, so while that's curing, I'm just letting you know here that I'm going to be adding in some of the dried flowers. And here you see my bowl of warm water. So I finally, like I said, figured out, oh yeah, I need to rehydrate the flowers a little bit. So I'm, you know, dunking them in here and letting them sit just for a few moments before taking them out and drying them off on a lint-free cotton white. And then before I apply them, I do the same thing that I did on the thumbnail. I go ahead and add a glossy coat over top of the words Moooove, and then I'm going to come in and apply some of these dried flowers. So this time I found that they did lay a lot flatter, a little more flush to the nail, and you know, you see me go in with the cuticle scissors and still nip off some of the little extra stems, and then reposition the dried flowers a little bit until I was happy with the spacing and the arrangement of the colors, because I wanted to have an even proportion of like the orange and the yellow and that plummy kind of burgundy colored flower. And I wanted to leave enough room so that you could still see through the tip of the nail a little bit, but then also to leave enough spacing to add some more of that fall glitter that we used on the thumbnail. And you know, this glitter was one of the items that I found while I was on vacation, and I did show it in one of my nail haul videos that is already published. So if you haven't seen that on my YouTube channel yet, check that out. There's a bunch of other items in that haul video that I have been using throughout the latest videos that have been posted, so check them out. And some of the products on that nail haul video I haven't used yet, so I'll be going through, you know, slowly and kind of working my way through all those items that I had purchased and using them in future videos. So if you haven't subscribed already to my channel, go ahead and do that so that you don't miss any of those future videos. All right, and then back to the nail here. This was a long process, I have to say, because I haven't worked with the dried flowers before. I think with my inexperience of it, it did take me a lot longer, but man, oh man, did it turn out spectacular. I think it was beautiful. All right, and then jumping to the ring finger, this time I'm doing that denim color in an opposite diagonal line than the index finger that we did earlier. And the same process though, I do the diagonal line and then I fill in with the blue, and I'm going to cure that for 60 seconds before I do a second layer on it. And I want to give a shout out, because I haven't said this yet, I haven't mentioned it yet, but these nails are actually inspired by a friend of mine whose daughter drew me some images of some set of nails, and she actually drew a set for me that had cows. And I loved some of her ideas, the concepts. It was just so neat, and I really appreciated how she really took to the fact that I'm using my artistic abilities to create these nails. So it inspired her to use her incredible artistic abilities to design and draw me a set of nails. And I just think that is awesome. So I want to send a big thank you to my friend and her daughter, and also for them giving us such a warm welcome back to the Southwest. And I find it incredibly inspiring, and I hope that you guys watching the video do as well. Right now in the video, we're working on the pinky, and we also used that denim blue color and drew a opposing diagonal line from the ring finger. And now at this point, you see that I'm doing that little stamping method with the Band-Aid and the white colored gel polish. And after that, I cleaned up a little bit that got onto the free edge. And now I'm coming in with the white, and I'm gonna just coat that entire free edge region with the white. You could probably guess maybe what this image is gonna be. Yes, it's going to be another cow print. But before we get there, I'm gonna finish up here with the ring finger. The lower portion of that nail, we're going to be putting that really pretty deep rich green, and then after we cure that for 60 seconds, we'll come in with the cat eye on that one. I really enjoyed making this set of nails. It would be a tough one, I think, to translate down into a smaller length nail, but I think it may be possible. I would probably keep it as maybe like a medium sized square tip nail in order to incorporate, and include a lot of the features that you see on this long length set, but I think it's just going to be really cute either way. Okay, so now I feel like things are starting to pick up a little. We're going to be doing our little cow image here, and I'm just pointing out I'm going to be using the white and the black to do that. First, I'm going to start out with the white. Instead of tracing the image in black, I decided to go with the white first and then come in with the black afterwards. So slowly, ever so carefully, I am trying to sculpt the image of a cow. To be honest, I don't think I have ever painted an image of a cow on a set of nails, so this is a whole new horizon for me. But you know what? That's what makes it so fun. You just give it a shot. You just, do your best. If you mess up, don't worry about it. You can just take one of those lint-free cotton wipes and dip it in some isopropyl alcohol and just wipe it off and start again. So that's what's great about it. And that's why I like to kind of cure or flash cure things as I go along, because if you do draw a section of something and you like it, you don't want to accidentally wipe it off. So here I'm trying to do an adorable kind of cute little girly cow, and I wanted to do the neck portion as well, because you'll see in a little bit there's a reason for that. But coming in, I'm just filling in and just trying to show maybe a little bit of the front legs, and then overall just kind of filling in any of the white spaces that I feel like I can do, that I will come back later and add in black. Now it's time to add a little color to this cow. And I decided to leave in, the footage of me creating this little cow image because I think it's just really fun to see her come to life and just, this process of creating this adorable image by hand. And here you'll see me using some of that kind of medium tan color that had that little slight hint of pink to fill in her nose. And then I put a little bit of it on the inside of her ears. And the brush I'm using, the nail art brush, is just kind of a generic brush that I purchased from a kit that was, inexpensive off of Amazon haul. And I've said this in the past that at some point I would like to get myself a really nice set of fine nail art brushes. And here I'm just dipping a little bit of the yellow into the horns, and then I'll come back in after curing that for 60 seconds and I'll use the black to again trace over the outline of the cow now, and then I'll start adding in the spots and then fill in some little details on her face, and then we'll be able to do some more embellishing. And then I flash cured a little bit more, and I decided that her eyes would not be finished unless I put some little white dots, or as my girls like to refer to them as cutie eyes. And after that was cured for another 60 seconds, I top coated with that glossy coat, and oh, I think she just turned out so sweet. And now we need to give her some little extra bling. I've grabbed some of those caviar beads, and I tried to use the smallest size possible, maybe not the very small, but the next size up. I'm not sure what it is in millimeters with the caviar beads, but they are so tiny, and I decided that the best way to apply them would be to use a little bit of the MAC Art Gem Glue and draw a thin line right around her neck. And that way it would look like it was a little necklace dangling there instead of, just maybe a leather strap with a cowbell. She deserves more than that. She is just splendid. So very carefully I used my wax pencil and picked up those tiny beads and placed them around there, draped them around her neck, and then at some point eventually, I don't think I have it in the recording, I did add a little kind of orangey colored rhinestone that was kind of oblong in shape, but a really beautiful, vibrant, kind of an orangey red that matched perfect with those beautiful dried flowers that we used on the other nails. And then I'm just showing you here the completed ring finger where we did that cow pattern, and then I added in some of these plastic flowers in the purple. Actually just one flower right on the little denim pocket that I ended up drawing on that nail. And then I added in one of the sparkling 1mm rhinestones. And then here I'm just showing you the process that I did add the middle finger, some blue plastic flowers, and I just wanted there to be a cluster of the light blue so that it would tie this nail together with the other nails that have that denim blue color on it. And I just did a kind of a sweeping application of that gel rhinestone glue from MacArt, and then I came in and just arranged them how I felt that they just looked pretty, like a little cascade of the flowers. And then I'll come back in and add some of the rhinestones and some of the little gold caviar beads that top it off. And here we're going to work on finishing off that pinky nail. So I'm just going to kind of do an S curve of the glue and apply in alternating order some black and white of the plastic flowers. And then inside the black flowers, I'm going to put some crystal clear white sparkly rhinestones, and then in the opposing white flowers, I'll add those black rhinestones. And then finish off the rest of the little tiny flowers with the gold caviar beads. After I finished with the pinky, I went back and looked at the other nails and decided that the thumb just needed a little something more. So I picked out a pretty gold bow. But before I applied that, I also decided that our cow in the middle finger, she needed to have a matching pair of earrings for that gold necklace. So once again, I grabbed that MacArt gem glue and just dotted a little bit onto my resin palette and then onto my really thin nail brush and put 2 little dots on either earlobe. And then I grabbed my caviar beads and I put 1 gold one on each ear to top it off. And with the curing of that final gold bow, this set of nails has come together. Such an adorable cowtastic set that was again inspired by my friend and her daughter, and I just had such a fun time doing it, and I hope that you enjoyed it as well. If you did, leave me a thumbs up. you too for all my new subscribers and all my current subscribers. If you enjoy the videos, please share, and I can be found on Instagram at bfoxynails. And as always, be courageous and be clever like a fox, my friends.